Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk a little bit about video game journalism, and more specifically how The Guardian has decided to defend China's authoritarian measures against its own gaming community, which most recently have taken the form of restricting the number of hours that players under the age of 18 can play per week, to just 3 hours per the weekend specifically. And with this in mind, it's actually rather telling when you see someone from The Guardian, such as in this case Alex Hearn, trying to defend this, with the article titled, "Why the Industry Should Heed China's Crackdown on Video Games. While the West is unlikely to follow the 3-hour gaming limit for children, developers would be unwise to dismiss it too quickly." Right from the get-go, you can tell that this particular author is trying to present authoritarianism in a good light, specifically by trying and failing to compare it to being a parent. And I say failing because telling your child to go to timeout isn't exactly the same as putting 2 rounds into the back of their skull, especially if the parent is taking the child to timeout over the child throwing a tantrum and the government executing people just because they don't believe in the BS of Hungry Santa. In fact, as a great example of just how poorly Alex Hearn understands authoritarian governments, one need only look at the second paragraph of the article, which states, and I quote, "But for all that authoritarian leaders like to present themselves as a parental figure for the country at large, it's rare that they actually get involved with the day-to-day work of, well, parenting." This one statement alone couldn't have missed the mark further if it tried, because if there's one thing that authoritarianism is well known for doing, it is specifically interfering with the day-to-day lives of ordinary people, including in the subject of parenting. But it gets worse, because Mr. Hearn has also decided to take it upon himself to defend Tencent's implementation of a facial recognition system that requires users to play on camera to prove they're over 18. Imagine trying to put that in a positive light, especially given the excuse that Mr. Hearn provides. That being that some games have loot boxes to restrict progression, a problem that not only would limiting playtime fail to solve, but actively make worse, and also the claim that video games are made to be as addictive as possible, even going so far as to refer to a state media quote which attacked video games by calling them spiritual opium, and thus restricting anyone under the age of 18 to playing just 3 hours per weekend is obviously a good idea because obviously addicts always follow the law, so saith Alex Hearn. And of course, the main thought at the very end is the concern that Western nations won't actually follow China's lead too closely, because according to The Guardian, that is clearly what we need to be doing. So here's the part where I would normally give my thoughts on this type of article, but I don't really believe I need to. Because let's be honest, The Guardian has been an absolute dumpster fire for quite a long time now. Everyone knows that The Guardian is an absolute cancer to society at this point, and so the fact that they would now choose to openly defend and support Chinese authoritarianism isn't really all that surprising, unfortunately. In fact, I can perfectly understand the concerns that some have with regards to even covering articles like this because of the concept of hate clicks. That said, I do believe that there is still light at the end of the tunnel, especially if people like me keep covering these articles. Because ultimately, hate clicks are not sustainable as a business model. And so if companies like The Guardian have only hate clicks to rely upon, then eventually they will surely fail. And while it may take years for them to collapse, that will be an inevitability if they keep making these kinds of articles, and if people like me keep covering them. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.